planned it.
Okay.
How you doing, Kim?
I'm doing good. It's I was like trying to like get my computer and I'm doing good. How you doing, Pat?
I'm all right. Hanging out at the pool.
Oh, that's a good place to be. I'm telling Lucas, I don't know if he's even on deck for helping with social. I just don't know if they're going to be able to get the update on social because they did all the Instagram social this morning for me. Can you help with social? CSAC, we on Zoom now. Anyway, yeah, but hey, shit happens, right?
Oh yeah, well, I thought it was funny because it was just like, of course this is what happens, like it's what's supposed to happen.
Totally. It's like, the probably the largest cohort we're gonna get, and they're all like, what's happening? But it's okay.
Well, and plus, whenever stuff like this happens, I'm always like, well, watch, something will come out of this that's good, like learning that like this is the better way to do it, or I don't know. Maybe it just spreads to a bigger audience.
Totally. Angela hit me up on Twitter and she was like giving me like, he can't hear you. She was like, I didn't even know she was there until I did. But like, how great is she that she's like, hey, he's going to try his Instagram. Like she was giving me like a play-by-play of what you were trying to do. And I thought, what a sweetheart to taking that on for herself. So.
Yeah. Oh, Mother May.
She's a good egg for sure. Yeah. So Sal, do you know Sal from the room? I guess you do, right?
Yeah, so what's funny is like I didn't realize I've seen him on Instagram before because I saw he just chatted real quick when we were on, and I was like, oh, that Sal is the Sal from my room. I didn't have the link because they have different names in Instagram and our room, right? So like, dude, it cracks me up where I'm like, you could be talking to somebody this whole time and not realize like, oh, I know this person from another virtual setting.
Absolutely true. It's always, I think that's happens a lot. You see somebody in the context and then they're not in that context. You're like, wait, is this the same person? Right?
Yeah. I mean, I keep the same,
by the way.
I keep the same name wherever I go. Right. So like, hopefully I don't present that issue, but I know a lot of people just like, oh, when I play video games, I'm this name. And when I'm trading, I'm this name.
Exactly. So true. And does Angela go by May primarily?
Well, I think she pronounces it Angela, right?
Benito? Angela.
Yep. Yeah, Angela.
She just was on it, Benito, trying to get me messages and very sweet. So
she's incredible.
She's just like, Kim, he can't hear you. She's like sending me messages on Twitter DM. This is happening. He's trying over here. Like I was like, you're like admin support on your own, girl.
Oh, she is. She transformed a huge part of how True Trader handles like our small groups thing. And, and she's like a member. She's a member. And she just said like, hey, I think I can do something here. Looks like Sal is in. He's trying to set up mic and vid 1 second is what he said. So I'm so sorry.
What about as far as is it streaming to YouTube right now or how is that working?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, YouTube is live. We're just
I only see us four, right? So like I have no idea if people are commenting or if there's questions or anything.
I'll keep an eye out for you guys on that side of it.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then Ricky, if you want to tweet the YouTube link, I can put it either in the Zoom chat or the Slack chat, whichever one you think is best.
Throw it in here in the Zoom chat. What's up, Sal?
Hey guys.
Good job.
Oh, hi. What's up?
So
if you
Sal.
Change the view to gallery, view, Sal, then you can see all of us. Except for Rick, who just hopped off for a second.
Yeah, I'm tweeting real fast this link.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, right on.
Does that? Yep, you got it now? Okay, good.
Got it.
Awesome. I'm so glad you're here and sorry for the tech
glitches. Thank you guys for having me.
Instagram wasn't playing nice today with multiple people in a platform and that just happens sometimes. So
I saw you both individually, and then you were talking at each other, and nobody could hear each other.
That's what we were told. We like to have, you know, a little excitement sometimes. Today we got our excitement. But I'm excited. Okay. You've been part of Trader for a while. It sounds like we're on live YouTube, just so you know, Sal.
Like on YouTube. May of last year, so 12, 16, 17, 18 months. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey, that's for sure. Going from literally zero, knowing absolutely nothing about anything, to watching Dan's YouTube ad during the middle of the pandemic when I'm working, not working, just kind of hanging out. And I'm like, oh, what's this guy all about? And then kind of jumped in, did a little research, and then it's been pretty much steady ever since. I've been day in, day out, realizing how little I still know after however many months. But it's okay. It's okay. Slow and steady.
Smartest thing you could do, brother, is to always realize that we don't know shit about shit. And that keeps you, trust me, that's like, it's when you think you know everything is when you are so close to getting humbled.
Yeah, for sure. So you give Ricky and I guys permission to coach today, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, thank you guys again. I really do appreciate it. And I know you guys take time out of your day, take time out of your lives to do this stuff, and it benefits a lot of people. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm sure that the stuff that I'm going through or questions I have are going to help more than just one or two people. That's for sure.
That's why we do it, brother, because you know, like, people, it's just like when you were in school, right? People are always scared to ask questions because they feel like, oh, I'm gonna look like an idiot. But by and large, most people in class are happy someone asked the question.
Yeah.
So real fast, I guess, because we didn't have this done like we usually do on Instagram. A quick intro, guys. You're watching Method and Mindset. I'm Ricky Analog. My beautiful co-host Kim Ann Curtin is the Wall Street Coach. And this fine young gentleman joining us is Sal, who is a member of True Trader, and he volunteered to come on this show today and be a guest on our show, where we are going to try to help this guy with whatever issues he wants us to work on. I will try to work on more technical issues. Kim specializes in helping with the mental stuff. So, and again, like, I'm not a financial advisor, guys. Nothing that we talk about is a solicitation to buy or sell any stocks. It's just for entertainment purposes. So, Sal, why don't you kind of let us know what it is you think you want a little help with?
Honestly, it's a lot of emotion, but just like a general understanding. You know, I've watched your webinars, Ricky. I've watched replays. I've watched it live. The whole knowing when you're wrong, and psychologically, I know I'm looking at it from an objective standpoint that I'm wrong. And I'm still like, all right, well, if everybody here is thinking the same thing, I'm wrong, getting stopped out at this level. Well, I'm going to add at the next one, because it's going to knock all those guys out. And then it goes through the next level and the next level. And all of a sudden, a small loss that I should be taking turns into losing 2, 3, 4 days worth of small, decent trades. And I know it's psychological, and I know that I don't fully understand. You know, a lot of guys talk about reading tape and getting an idea of when things are about to crack, or I don't have that deep of a knowledge of that yet. But I think the most of it really is psychological. You know, it's like, I know this is happening. I see it getting ready to do, you know, and in the back of my head, it's like, all right, you know, maybe you should take that off. And I know, Ricky, you say all the time, I'd rather wish that I was in a trade than wish that I wasn't. And I keep saying that over and over to myself, but it's like that mental block of, there's maybe however many 10, 20, 100, 1,000 other people saying the exact same thing. If I can do something that these people aren't, then, maybe I've got that upper hand, but
and maybe you have upper hand, Sal, because you've been at this for so long.
Yeah.
No, Sal. No, that's me doing sarcasm.
Oh! I was like, wait, it's so long. I was like, I feel like I'm pretty new compared to. Yeah.
You are, dude, and yet you're going into these places where you're like, I'm gonna be this kind of like black belt master.
Yeah.
No, you can't be a black belt master. Maybe after 25 years, you get to be a black belt master.
I don't even have my uniform yet.
Exactly. So it seems like you're asking something of yourself that's not in proportion to your skill set.
Yeah. I think I really just probably just based on my growing up sports history and kind of everything that I've done, I've tried to maybe outdo myself or outdo what, go beyond what maybe I'm capable of to push to see really what the limit is. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work here because that limit is the finances that I do or do not have. And I've learned that quickly in the last couple months that, things were okay for a while. I was in a decent place. And then, it's like, you slip a little bit and then you start speeding up and then you slip and slip and slip. And they're like, holy crap, what's going on? I found myself a couple weeks ago and I was like, how did I go from here? I was building a small little steady curve and I'm like, okay, well, I'm back to zero in the course of 2 weeks. How did this happen? And yeah.
That's what we have to be so careful about our self-image.
Yeah.
Like, there's if we have our self-image ridiculously high, that bar is set super, super high, then we're never going to live up to it. And that's going to make us feel lousy about ourselves. So it's not about not having goals, but it's having goals in proportion to how long you've been at this, how skilled you are, how much time you give it. They got to be in proportion, or you're going to blow out a kneecap in sports, right? If you try to run too fast, too quick, you're going to injure your body. It's just as fragile as your bank account. So it's not that you are already doing something incredibly challenging. You just stepped in 2 months ago, the most competitive game in the world.
Yeah.
If you want to live to see that through, you're going to have to become somebody who doesn't put these impractical, unrealistic, rock star status, overnight success expectation of yourself.
Yeah.
Ricky, what do you think?
I got a lot of stuff to touch on here. So first, there are some stuff that you can do right away, right, to implement that will help you, because what it sounds like is like, you should stop out, and it's when the time comes to do the right thing, that's when you struggle, right? Like you hesitate, you get deer in the headlights, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can put your stop loss in when you enter the original trade, and then you have rules where it's like, look, even as bad, no matter how bad I want to cancel that stop or whatever, I have to be disciplined and take that stop, because remember, discipline might not make you money today, but in the long run, it's what makes you money.
Yeah.
So like I always tell people this, like you can make some money today on this trade, but it may cost you your career in the long run. And that's like, that trade-off isn't worth it. So the other thing is, you have, like, it sounds like you're doing a lot of comparing yourself to everyone else, where, like other people are going to add at this next level and you're going to stop out. And that to you sucks, because you're like, shit, I'm going to miss out on the move that they're all going to capture. So here's the thing. those people had that game plan going into the trade, or at least I'd like to hope they did.
Right.
Because the sad part is a lot of them probably don't. A lot of them are probably in the same boat as you. And here's the thing: if it's fine, it's 100% fine to have that plan ahead of time. What's not fine is to take a trade and then change your plan to accommodate the thing not working the way you want it to. So there's this. So it's funny because you brought up sports, right? Sports and trading, people like to make these comparisons to them because there are a lot of things that feel similar, but they're not the same. They're not the same, because in sports, you can like physically push to a point where you will overpower whatever it is that's keeping you from being successful, and you can physically enforce your will upon it. You cannot do that to the market. The market is not here for you to show it who's boss. It's here to remind you that it's the boss. So, you know, the most important thing for me is that we have a plan and we stick to it and we don't change it. Now, I know it sucks to stop out and watch other people have the next level to add at, but you have to also like look at the full picture, right? What about the people? So if your plan is to stop out at that first level, if it doesn't work, right? Just follow me along on this thought process. If your plan is, I'm going to stop at this level, doesn't work, I'm not adding at the next level. That to me tells me that you're going to take a bigger position size at this first level, because you're not adding. This is it, or I'm wrong. And that's it. So think about all the people that are making the plan to add 2 levels below you, right? Think about how much of a position size they're taking at that first entry, right? Now, imagine the trade works from your first level. They don't have near the position size on you do, because they were going to try to scale into it. And here you are with a nice big position, and the trade works and it works well, and you make your money, and they make peanuts, right? So I know you get like jealous of these people that like add at the next level and then it works for them. But you have to understand that like when it works for them off their initial level, they don't make the kind of money that you're going to make. So there's, you know, there's pros and cons, right? It's not right or wrong. It's just what it is. And I can only tell you how I do things. And I'll tell you right now from experience, it doesn't work for me to add at next levels. And that's fine. I see everybody adding next levels, and I remind myself constantly, that's just not what works for me. And that's okay, because I'd rather take a big position at that first spot. And when it works, and I make money. And when it doesn't, I cut it. And I always hear people say this: well, what if it doesn't get to your next level? Who fucking who? I seriously can't stand when people say that. Anytime I hear someone say, what if it doesn't get to your next level? It tells me that person cares way too much about this single trade. No single trade should matter that much. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't A+ setups where they demand you put a little more conviction into it and a little more size. That's different. But no single trade is going to make or break your career. Now, there could be trades that break your career because we don't stick to our rules. And one of the things that you said that really scares me is, and I hope a lot of traders that are newer listen to this, and that is, it doesn't take much for you to, like, in the blink of an eye, be in way over your head and be so upside down that you're wondering, like you said, I think you said, I was wondering how I got into this position, right? And that is the scary thing about trading. It's like, you might start with like 1,000 shares here, and then it doesn't work. And instead of stopping out, you're like, well, I'm only down like, $200, $300, right? I'll just add another 1,000 here. Now you have 2,000 shares, and it goes a little further against you. And every little bit lower. And before you know it, like something that should have been $100 or $200 loss, and you're looking at, 4-figure loss, right? And then before you know it, you're like, well, I can't, this is what everyone says, I can't eat a 4-figure loss for my account size. Like, that's detrimental, right? And instead of eating the loss, they add again. And before you know it, it's like, I guess this trade is going to either be like, I either somehow survive this or it ends my career. And that's not acceptable. Not acceptable at all.
That's where my biggest losses have come from, those two things. One,
So
I have my X size. That's my full size. The biggest losses I've taken, 2 or 3, are the oh shit moment where I'm only down X and I add 3 or 4 times the size of my regular trade. And that's it. It's not the losses that I take on a regular basis for my normal size, fine. It's when I add and I double the size and I double the size and I'm in that oh shit moment where I just freeze up. Happened twice where I'm just like,
Well, you're freezing up because you found yourself in a landscape you're not supposed to be in.
yeah.
Yep. So one thing, have you ever looked at your P&L and like done the math and seen like what your P&L would look like if those just the 3 or 4 gigantic losses you've had, if they were just your normal losses, and tried to see the difference there?
Yeah,
okay,
I'd be in really good shape.
Okay, so that's you know the answer. Now the problem is that it's not that you don't know that. It's a mental, like you said earlier, it's a mental thing that's preventing you from doing it. So that's where Kim comes from.
Wait, are you in a relationship, Sal, or ever been in one?
Yes.
Are you in a committed relationship?
Yes.
Does she know you're getting screwed by the market?
Well, now you do. You weren't supposed to tell anyone, Kim.
All right.
Do you when you are in committed relationships, do the committed relationships get designed like, hey, I'm in this committed relationship unless a hot person comes along?
No, ma'am.
Right, so are you in, even if like,
at least not in my case. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but in my case, no, it does not.
But in your case, you don't make exceptions for like really good looking people.
Correct.
Okay. That's so interesting. So that tells me, Sal, you're a man of your word when it comes to your commitment to the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it going to take for you to be that man of your word to your trading? That's what's happening. A good looking hot number's walking by you and you completely forget your commitment to yourself and your pattern and you throw it out the window.
Yeah.
What happens for you when I say that?
I don't know. I think maybe it's because it's something for myself that I'm doing. Like this whole journey is for myself.
Even more important than self, for you to be a man of your word to yourself, because the only way you can go the distance here is if you trust yourself. You don't trust yourself right now. Why? Because you have not been trustworthy.
Yeah.
You've said what you were going to do. You were going to stick to it. And repeatedly, you have not kept your word to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to someone else, it's easy to do. When it comes to me, it's not. It's like, oh, I guess it doesn't really. It's whatever.
That's really good that you said that and can see that. And can you see how that would chip away at your relationship to yourself?
Yeah.
We have a tendency, people who are, fairly decent and not born, sociopaths, to be really good at keeping our word to other people, but not always so good at keeping our word to ourselves. And we have to be very careful about what word we're going to keep to ourselves. But it feels like you're smart enough to know that you were very deliberate in what you created as you started to trade. So that tells me you just have to kind of realign yourself to what that self-commitment is. And also measure it with a real ruler, not the Sal's version of a ruler.
Yeah.
Right? You get a ruler out of your desk drawer, it's going to be the same if it's my desk drawer ruler or Ricky's, because a 12-inch stand ruler is the same. So you got to start to measure yourself by a real ruler, not one that's, perhaps your inner gremlin telling you you should be someplace overnight.
Yeah, and in my head, I know, I tell myself basically every day, slow and steady wins the race, slow and steady wins the race. But my actions are not always in line with the things that I'm telling myself over and over and over and over again. And I guess that's just.
So much of our behavior is unconscious. That's why being conscious and your courage to even coming into this conversation is you trying to look at what you're like, wow, I say slow and steady. And then I go and do this other thing that I feel like somebody else did it. You're like, I don't even know how that happened, because that's what our unconscious does. It becomes the default, button pusher.
Yeah.
But that's why you want to just be incredibly self-aware now. And just like Ricky said about looking back over those, your trading journal, see what was informing every trade. You have to be methodical for yourself over every step you take, because if it isn't you being a fundamentalist to your pattern, then you're going to be potentially going into trouble. I would say read the Gremlin book. If you listen to those talks that I did for True Trader, they're all in the vault that you have as a member. The conversations about the Gremlin are probably really important, because usually that is one of the unconscious biases. That inner gremlin is like, come on, you should be moving quicker. What the hell, dude? You are a star athlete. Why are you such a loser now? That's how your gremlin is talking to you.
Yeah. That was the first thing that introduced me to Kim Ann Curtin, that Gremlins. That was episode 1, I think, right?
It was.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Right. You're human. I hate to break it to you.
No, sometimes in this, it would be really nice to be a robot and just really, all these guys say take the emotion out of it, and
being a robot actually, because I'm telling you right now, as much as AI is, it's still, AI is programmed by humans, right? I don't think you do want to be a robot actually, but you could still be a human being, because then, you'll see as you develop over time, there's going to be a feeling, there's going to be a knowing, there's going to be an intuition that's going to give you insight. You're not there yet because you're still learning how to walk.
Yeah,
but
how to put an entry from level 2.
You want to know something though, Sal? I'll tell you one thing that's going to help you in this, and that is a lot of newer traders go through exactly what you're going through right now, because, and this is something that people don't realize they lack, and that is they have still yet to fully flesh out their strategy. They haven't defined every piece of it. They don't even know what an A+ setup looks like for them. And
100%.
When you don't know what the hell it is you're like, people are like, hey, be patient for your entries, be patient for your targets. Well, you can't be patient for something if you don't know what that something is, right? Yep. So when you're trading, everything's moving so fast, you think every little thing you see might be that thing. And, we act impulsively, and boom, you're in a trade and you're like, oh shit, what did I do? You have to do all the work comes when the market's closed. When the market's open, you're just doing what you've practiced and what you've defined as your strategy. And I'm not here to tell you what you should call an A+ setup or what you should trade. But a lot of traders go, for instance, I talk to a lot of guys that short small caps, right? What's your strategy? Oh, I just short things that are gapped up. If something gaps up 40%, I short it. Really? That's your strategy? That's not a strategy. That's literally like, if that's what you do, say goodbye to your career, right? Yeah. You need to be able to black and white define what it is that you do, and not only what you do, but what you don't do. Right. And because guess what? the second that you define it all and have it written out, and you have contingency plans for everything, and you know where your stops go, and you know where your targets are, there's a lot less emotion. Now, there's not ever going to be a time when there's zero emotion.
Yeah.
But the goal is to keep emotions at bay as much as possible. And that is done through defining what it is we do. So if you are that guy that's like, yo, I short small caps that gap up. Okay, cool. What do you define as a large gap? Okay, that's a good place to start. At what point is it extremely extended? Don't just tell me like when they get extended. That doesn't define anything, right? That's so subjective. That's so vague. Everything needs to be defined, very granular. And what you're going to learn is like a lot of stuff you're doing is just complete nonsense and waste of your time and mental capital and financial capital. But you're also going to find there's a lot of stuff that you realize like, oh, it looks like it works, but like when you really look at the math, it doesn't, because a lot of people go, oh, well, I see trader X doing this and he makes money. But then like you try to like figure out what his strategy is, you try to replicate it, and then you run the numbers and you go, oh,
yep,
that gave me a negative expectancy, which means it won't be profitable over time. And so you need to find something where the numbers make sense and where it also makes sense for your personality. And when you do that, you're going to find that it becomes less emotional and less confusing and less stressful, because you're going to go, oh, well, this looks like a juicy trade, but it just looks that way. It's not really. It's like what Kim was saying, like she might look good, but she's not going to wake up in the morning and cook you breakfast, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think between the two of you, that's kind of my biggest hurdle right now, right? It's the gremlin combined with I don't have a real strategy that works or that's proven or that has, I can put into action X amount of times and I know it's going to work, 60% of the time or 70% or whatever the win rate is. Right now, like you said, I just see something that looks like it might work and I'm like, oh, I'll take that, and trying to find out what will, and then I see it or I'm like, oh, I missed that one. Well, I'll get it the next time, and scanning.
But Sal, here's the thing. Even if you're wanting to, try different things, you've got to be willing to keep what you're investing in it small, because you want to go in consciously knowing, I don't know what the hell I'm doing yet. I'm figuring it out. So why am I going to put so much money on it if you just are still uncertain? It's okay to be uncertain. You got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
But if you put that gun to your head, you're going to be blinded by the learnings that are right here, ready to help you become a better trader, because you're going to be in so much pain over the loss. You won't even get the lessons from these.
Yeah.
Sal, you're in True Trader, so I'm wondering, did you see recently we had a member, BM Seller, that did a whole bunch of data tracking?
Was that in the lounge?
They posted, there's like a video in the pro room that they made about it. It's like, and so basically what they did was what I just kind of was describing to you, right? Is like defining what works for them, like looking at the data, because there's no shortage of data, right? You have all the end of day results, like we track all those and they're in the room for you to go get later. And you can do the work. It's there. And what's funny is this person did that and was nice enough to like share it with the room. But the funny thing is like I'm, and hopefully a lot of people from our community are listening to this. And I want everybody, even if you're not in my community, know this: if somebody shares a bunch of data with you, it is not going to have the same meaning for you or the same usefulness for you as if you go and track your own data and come to your own conclusions. So I was extremely impressed by this member and what they did. And I highly, highly encourage every single member of True Trader to do the same thing and figure out what it means for them, what the data tells them, because there are some huge insights into different ways you can treat the strategy, right? Like, and I'm not telling anybody how to trade, but I know from data I track that I have to trade it a certain way. And I can't care about how other people trade it. When someone's like, I live stream 3 days a week, and a lot of times I'm on there with other traders who might be like, yo, I'm in this trade and I'm going to add at this level. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. I can't let that get in my head, because at the end of the day, I have to provide for me, right? Like, so you got to do the same. And so does every single member. And so the data's there. It does take work. And that's the thing. You have to want it. You really got to want it, because there is, like I said, when I say there's no shortage of data, it's like, there's so much that it's overwhelming, but you have to also figure out what matters, right?
That's the thing, I think, for me, is that there's so much data and access to literally everything at at your fingertips. I don't always know if the stuff that I'm looking at is good information or bad information, so I think I'm still at a point where I'm still so new that I don't know what the good information, or like, people type text, whatever it is, tweet, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat.
Don't be reading off Twitter, dude, or any of those platforms. I mean, like, I get it.
I'm just saying, in terms of information that is passed through, or that you see or read, or like the ability, I'm not talking necessarily P&L, but I'm saying the amount of information that is out there, it's overwhelming to be like, all right, where do I even start to try to find what I'm
in the
looking
true
for?
trading community? So start there. And this is the paradox of choice. That's a famous book that came out many years ago. When people are given 47 jams to pick from, they're overwhelmed. You give them 4 jams to pick from, they're going to be able to pick one. So don't let yourself be exposed to all that information. Limit information.
Plus, when I say data, I don't mean people's opinions. I mean cold, hard numbers. Like, legitimately, like the stuff that you'll find in our room, like the end of the day results that High Trader posts every single day. Go and get those and look at the numbers, pull the charts, look and ask yourself questions that are the kind of questions that you need answered to look to come back to me and go, hey, Ricky, I define things. And I'll go, okay, so what did you define as like an A+ move into a level or whatever? And I hope that you'll be like, oh, I looked at all the numbers and like it's A+ if it moves X% into a level or whatever, right? Like, and where should your stop loss go? Well, I looked at the numbers and like, if they go over this much percentage over the level, then by and large, 95% of those ones end up being failed trades anyway. So I might as well cut them there, right? Like, those are the kinds of things you can get answers to, and they're not opinions, they're facts. And like, Twitter, Instagram, all that's just opinions. But these are facts, and like the numbers don't lie. And there's some really, I'm not going to tell you this if I'm not willing to stake my reputation on it. Then the insights you will gain will blow your mind. You'll be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And Sal, this is the not sexy side of trading.
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing. You see everybody's highlight reel, right? You don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Correct.
And
Right.
Dude, I'm telling you right now.
Or the loneliness, or the dedication, or the discipline, or the mind-numbing repetition of looking at everything Ricky's speaking to.
Yeah.
That is fucking hard work. That means hours, days, weeks, months.
Yep.
Yeah, but what's funny is this. So check this out. Kim's 100% right. It's hours and hours and hours of staring at numbers and plugging in things into Excel sheets and stuff that like you don't even consider trading, right? Like, that's not, when I signed up for trading, I didn't sign up for this shit, right?
Yeah.
Trading's supposed to be like sexy. It's like the bell rings and bing, bing, bang, money in my bank account. Listen, I already told you 95% of the work happens when the market's not open. So, as well as anyone else in True Trader, when is the best time of day to trade?
first 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. So in reality, you should be working 6 hours a day, which is less than a 9 to 5, but 5.5 of those hours should be doing Excel sheet work, and the half hour should be 15 minutes preparing before the market opens and 15 minutes trading when that bell rings, and then pencils down, test is over. That's it. But if you sit at the screens for 8 hours, right, and burn your brain out of your skull trying to figure things out on the fly, you are not going to have the mental ability to handle Excel sheet work after the market closes. I will tell you that from experience. All right. Like, you got to realize, like as Adriano always says, right? Like if you know that fish are biting in the lake at this spot at a certain time in the morning, are you going to go fish there any other time of the day?
Right. But that's like, this is not the fun thing like that most traders think they're going to have when they come into it. So this is the dismantling of the make-believe, what is it called out in the desert when you can't find water? A mirage. This is the mirage that's now being popped. And that old Sal who was sitting there trying to do things with lots of money that he didn't really know what he was doing. That's like you trying to live that mirage as though it's true. Here's a vet telling you that is all bullshit.
Yeah.
The real work is this other unsexy, nobody talks about it. Hollywood doesn't do a movie about that part of things. But I think it was Jack Schwager who said if they did a real movie about what trading looks like, it would be like an Andy Warhol film of a building not moving for 8 years.
Yeah. I'll tell you this though, it's really, really hard work, and it's a lot of tedious stuff that sucks real bad. But you would be mistaken if you think that the payout isn't worth it. Like the things that trading can give you, if you're willing to go through that, make it all worth it. And so that's the thing that you have to keep focused on. Like, make sure you love it, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, and don't be discouraged by hard work, because I got news for you. Like, if you want to go work for someone else, it's not easy either. Okay. So
nope. Or working for yourself as an entrepreneur. Like, it's hard fucking work, dude. All of it's hard fucking work, but at least it's yours. But we got to get your trust we have to get that trust realigned with yourself. And I think you've got it in yourself, but you gotta get like, it's like Sal 2.0 now. Serious. You gotta get serious and recommit to yourself, because your relationship to you is the most important one you're going to have in this journey as a trader. And you want to trust yourself, and you want to give yourself empathy too, for not being, a robot. You are human. So maybe practice a little self-empathy too. So I sense that probably would go a long way for you. All right. Thanks for coming on. You were courageous to do so. Read that book too, Taming Your Gremlin. We went way over today, Rick, but we owed it to everybody, I guess.
Thank you guys
You got a
so
long
much.
sessions now. You're lucky.
I really do. I really appreciate your time. This has been awesome.
Awesome. Well, hey, you've got a direct line to me, Sal, and TT. So if you need anything, reach out. Anybody in TT. Hopefully you guys took a lot of good stuff away from this. People outside of True Trader watching this, I know some of it might have sounded like a foreign language, but if you're interested, come over to True Trader and check it out. Also, methodandmindset.com. Go over there, hours and hours of stuff. Some stuff from me, but a lot of stuff from this great woman, Kim Ann Curtin, and I can't thank her enough for all the stuff she does on the mental side of the trading game. Get you guys self situated over there and watch those videos.
Good to see you, Ricky. Good to meet you, Sal. Stay in touch. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah, thank you, guys.